stop it.
What?
2 to the power of 75,000 to 1 against, and falling.
Hey! Who are you? Where are you? What's going on? Is there any way of stopping it?
Please relax, you are perfectly safe.
That is not the point. Point is, I am now a perfectly safe penguin. My colleague here is rapidly running out of limbs. Isn't there anything you feel you ought to be telling us?
Welcome to the Starship Heart of Gold. Please do not be alarmed by anything you see or hear around you. You are bound to feel some initial ill effects as you have been rescued from certain death at an improbability level of 2 to the power of 260,199 to 1 against, possibly much higher. We are now cruising at a level of 2 to the power of 25,000 to 1 against, and falling, and we will be restoring normality as soon as we are sure what is normal anyway. Thank you. 2 to the power of 20,000.
Arthur, this is fantastic. We've been picked up by a ship with a new infinite improbability drive. I mean, this is incredible, Arthur. Arthur? What's happening?
Ford, there's an infinite number of monkeys out here who want to talk to us about this trip for Hamlet they've worked out.
The infinite improbability drive is a wonderful new method of crossing interstellar distances in a few seconds without all that tedious mucking about in hyperspace. The principle of generating small amounts of finite improbability by simply hooking the logic circuits of a Bambolini 57 submeson brain to an atomic vector plotter suspended in a strong Brownian motion producer, say a nice hot cup of tea, had long been understood. And such generators were often used to break the ice at parties by making all the molecules in the hostess's undergarments simultaneously leap 1 foot to the left, in accordance with the theory of indeterminacy. Many respectable physicists said that they weren't going to stand for that sort of thing, partly because it was a debasement of science, but mostly because they didn't get invited to those sort of parties. Another thing they couldn't stand was the perpetual failure they encountered in trying to construct a machine which could generate the infinite improbability field needed to flip a spaceship between the furthest stars. And in the end, they grumpily announced that such a machine was virtually impossible. And then, one evening, a student who had been left to sweep up the lab after a particularly unsuccessful party found himself reasoning this way. If such a machine is a virtual impossibility, then it must logically be a finite improbability. So all I have to do in order to make one is to work out exactly how improbable it is, feed that figure into the finite improbability generator, give it a fresh cup of really hot tea, and turn it on. The moment he did this, he was rather startled to discover that he had managed to create the long-sought-after infinite improbability generator out of thin air. It startled him even more when, just after he was awarded the Galactic Institute's prize for extreme cleverness, he got lynched by a rampaging mob of respectable physicists who had finally realized that the one thing they really couldn't stand was a smartass.
5 to 1 against and falling. 4 to 1 against and falling. 3 to 1, 2, 1. Probability factor of 1 to 1. We have normality. I repeat, we have normality. Anything you still can't cope with is therefore your own problem.
Who are they, Trillian?
Just a couple of guys we picked up in open space. Sector ZZ9, plural Z Alpha.
Yeah, well, that's a very sweet thought, Trillian. But do you really think it's wise right now? I mean, here we are on the run and everything. We've got the police of half the galaxy after us, and we stop to pick up hitchhikers. Yeah, okay, so 10 out of 10 for style, but minus several million for good thinking, huh?
They were floating unprotected in open space. You didn't want them to die, did you?
Well, no, not as such, but, you know.
A second later and they'd have been dead.
Yeah. So if you'd taken the trouble to think about it a moment longer, it would have gone away, right?
Anyway, I didn't pick them up. The ship did, all by itself.
Hey, what?
Hey, what?
The ship picked them up all by itself.
So what?
The ship picked up... Oh, forget it and go back to sleep, will you?
Hey.
It picked them up while we were in infinite improbability drive.
But that's incredible!
No, just very, very improbable. Look, don't worry about the aliens. They're just a couple of guys, I expect. I'll send the robot down to check them out. Hey, Marvin!
I think you ought to know I'm feeling very depressed.
Oh, God.
Well, here's something to occupy you and take your mind off things.
It won't work. I have an exceptionally large mind.
Marvin.
All right. What do you want me to do?
Go down to number 3 entry bay and bring the 2 aliens up here under surveillance.
Just that?
Yes.
I won't enjoy it.
She's not asking you to enjoy it. Just do it, will you?
All right, I'll do it.
Oh, good, great. Thank you.
I'm not getting you down at all, am I?
No, Marvin, that's just fine, really.
I wouldn't like to think I was getting you down.
No, don't you worry about that. You just act as comes naturally and everything will be fine.
You're sure you don't mind?
No, it's all just part of life.
Life? Don't talk to me about life.
I don't think I can stand that robot much longer, Zaphod.
The Encyclopedia Galactica defines a robot as a mechanical apparatus designed to do the work of a man. The marketing division of the Sirius Cybernetics Corporation defines a robot as your plastic pal who's fun to be with.
Your plastic pal who's fun to be with.
The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy defines the marketing division of the Sirius Cybernetics Corporation as a bunch of mindless jerks who'll be the first against the wall when the revolution comes. With a footnote to the effect that the editors would welcome applications from anyone interested in taking over the post of robotics correspondent. Curiously enough, an edition of the Encyclopedia Galactica that fell through a time warp from 1,000 years in the future defines the marketing division of the Sirius Cybernetics Corporation as a bunch of mindless jerks who were the first against the wall